So you sell on Whop, but your entire team operates on GoHighLevel. I'm going to show you in this simple workflow how to automate creating checkout links using GoHighLevel and even going to the extent of sending a text and an email to the customer per checkout link that is completely customizable. Let's get into it. This is all going to be done through Whop's documentation and API. So I'm going to be using Make to make that happen. And I'm going to be using GoHighLevel to host all the information. And then Whop is going to be the actual processor. So we're going to have a few tabs open. First tab is going to be either your contact or your custom field settings in GoHighLevel. You're going to open up a brand new workflow because we're going to start from scratch. And then you're going to open up a make scenario and create a brand new one. So first thing you want to decide is when we have this pricing, when we have this custom checkout link go out to this client, what do we want our trigger to be? I think generally speaking, a lot of people would want an agreement signed or something to happen, like a phone call to have happened. Maybe that's a tag in your system. Whatever that is, think about what makes sense for your flow, for your customer journey, or for your sales team, and then decide that is going to be the trigger. So obviously this can be a webhook too. So if it's coming from another software into GoHighLevel, you can have an inbound webhook for your trigger, but decide whatever that is first, and then we can kind of move into the next steps. The next most important thing is to create your custom fields for when we create our checkout link. These are the general ones. There is more custom fields that you can add according to our documentation. If you wanted to get really, really specific with things, like if you wanted to specify currency, or if there were other specific things that you wanted to kind of generalize or have for each client. But these are going to be the normal general ones. So initial price obviously is going to be the price that the person is going to pay that checkout link price. The renewal price is going to be what they're going to be charged monthly. Now for this, so I'm going to put some examples here. Let's say our initial price is $100 because that's the down payment per se. My renewal price, my monthly price is actually only $15. And then my plan type is going to be renewal. Now, if this was a one-time thing and it was just $1,000, let's say, just put 1,000, don't put anything in renewal price. You would hit one time. But let's create a subscription just because this one is a little bit more complex. So it is important to note the different types of fields these are. So for the initial price, this is just going to be a number field, not a dollar, a number field, just general number. Renewal price is just number field. For plan type, I put this as a drop down one select. So renewal and one time, just because those are the only two options. You can type it out, but it has to be exact because that's what our documentation references, these two exact strings. So I would just put this as a drop down so that you can choose. And then trial period, this will just be, are you giving your customer a trial period before they start getting that monthly renewal price? Probably a lot of people won't use this, but let's just say I want to give them a week trial. The billing period for this specific example is going to be every 30 days. If you're doing this every 3 months or every year, this is going to be according to days. So 365, 109, or 120, whatever that is. This custom field, lastly, is going to be left blank. This is just going to be a text custom field. This is where the custom checkout link is going to appear once we create it in Whop. So those are the most important custom fields. You can add more if you would like, but those are the main ones that you will need. So now going back to our workflow, you've decided your trigger, we've made our custom fields. Now we need to create a webhook and we need to create our make scenario. So we're going to go ahead and just say, we're going to create a webhook within GoHighLevel, which is the action. And then I'm very good about like trying to name everything. So it's really clear for the customer or for whoever is coming in here and editing this in the future, what is happening. We are sending this to Whop. We're sending this to a make scenario and we are posting it, right? That's the method. And then now we need to get our URL because this will be blank. So simultaneously, while all this is happening, you're going to come and create a make scenario. The make scenario, for the first one, the trigger is just going to be a custom webhook. When you say add, again, name this, you know exactly what this webhook is for. It's going to generate a link for you and you're just going to grab that link. You're going to come back to your workflow, paste. Perfect, done. Now, the next action that I would add is I always like to wait a minute when I'm creating anything that's talking with other softwares, because you want to give it a minute to generate and create that custom checkout link, come back to make, post it to GHL, send to the customer. There's a lot happening, so just give it a minute to process all of that so we don't risk anything being empty. So the next thing that you're going to do after you create your webhook is you are going to do a HTTP request, and you're going to do another HTTP request after that. This request is going to have this endpoint, this is all going to be linked in this video as well, where it's api.whop.com, and then it's going to be /plans. This is going to be a post. You're going to have your header say authorization, and then in the next field where it's the value, you're going to type bearer, and then you're going to put your API key from Whop. And I'm going to show you how to get that API key as well. Next, you're going to put content type. You're going to do application /JSON. And then down here, you're going to put raw body type, JSON for the content type again. And then in the request content, you're going to paste this information, which I'm also going to link. So this again there's more information that you can put in this that I will link all the documentation if you wanted to add stuff to this, but these are kind of the most important things. So a few things I do want to note is, like, for currency, you would want this to be dynamic coming from, this is the test data that I sent through. You would want this to be dynamic according to how you want your customer to pay. So if this is something that changes for you, for me, this doesn't change, so I put USD, you're going to probably want to have another field on your GHL that has currency, and then you'll probably want to create all the drop downs of all the currencies that you would create this for, and then do it according to that. So visibility, the reason I did hidden is because I don't want this to show up on my actual Whop store. I just want it to be a hidden checkout link that I can use for someone to check out with. The product ID, this will need to be created within Whop. So you do need to have a product that this lives under. However, you can create one generalized product and have as many checkout links as you want under that. So the product is kind of irrelevant in this sense, because they're not going to be maybe they're not doing anything with the product, or you're just having a bunch of checkout links live under this product. For the billing period, these are where the custom fields are going to come in, and this is where you're going to reference all of the information coming through your webhook. Now, another important thing to note, if this is the first time that you make scenario, is you do need to pull information through to be able to see those dynamic fields and all those fields from GoHighLevel. So otherwise it won't really be helpful for you, because you won't be able to see any of those fields and you won't know to reference. So the way that you do that with GoHighLevel, exit out of this, is you're just going to test this workflow. And even if it's off, you're going to select probably yourself or whoever contact you want to send through this. And once you hit run test, come over here, hit run this module, or just run the entire thing once and have it go through. And then you're going to see all of those custom fields and all that information that you have in GoHighLevel. So that's a very helpful thing to do right at the one where it's a renewal or a one-time. And so here you can see that I selected this for plan type, which is going to be dynamic. It's going to change depending on what I select for that client. I put USD hidden, and then I have one product that I'm using for this. Again, if you wanted to have a different product that each of these are attributed to, and that was something you were wanting to reference, this could be dynamic and you could create a custom field, or you can just put the one. For the billing period, you just need to find each of these fields now. And so billing period, you would just select billing period and then choose each of your renewal price, trial period, whatever. And then here where it says stock, you can put whatever you want here. If you wanted to put one so that one person can check out with this link. If you wanted to reuse this in the future, I guess that you could have, it be unlimited, but I would probably, if you're using this in the way where you're sending a different checkout link for each customer, you probably just want to have one, and then that checkout link is only being used for that one customer for that one-time price point, fee, whatever, and then it's not being used again. You can also change the stock to unlimited or whatever you want to do with it. Next, you're going to set up your next HTTP request. This is going to be this endpoint where it's going to be actually lead connector, because now we want to send it back to GoHighLevel. So we've sent it to Whop. We've sent our information to Whop. We've created the checkout link. Now the link has been created. This is all happening instantaneously, right? Now we need to send it back to GoHighLevel. So I will also link the GoHighLevel API documentation. So this is going to be the endpoint for this. And the contact ID is going to be the ID that we're changing. Now you can do this based on email. I would recommend doing it on ID, contact ID, because then you can't go wrong. You're not going to get a duplicate contact or someone who put the wrong email or whatever. So just do contact ID here, which is a dynamic field you're going to find in the webhook. Select contact ID. Then you're going to do, this is going to be a put because now we're putting it back to GHL. We're going to do the same thing here with header, content type, application, JSON, authorization. This is where you're going to have your bearer. You're going to put bearer, and then you're going to put your API key. Again, we'll do that last. I'll show you how to get your API key. Then you're going to do the version and this. Now this may change because I got this again from GoHighLevel's docs. So keep that in mind. If this video is really old and this ends up changing, you need to go and see what the value is. This is the most recent version. Then we're going to go down body type raw, JSON, and then this is what you're going to paste to bring back to GoHighLevel. So it's going to be under custom fields, and it's exactly structured like this. This is going to be I believe this is the ID of the field. So I'm going to show you how to get that as well. This is the custom field that I'm going to place this in. The key is going to be the custom field key that's going to be in the custom field settings. And then the field value is going to be what I am actually gathering from my previous step. So that's going to be the direct link. So Whop has now gone through, it's created a checkout link, and now it's spit back out and given me my brand new checkout link. So I need to put that here so I know what to reference. Now let's walk through how to find your custom field ID and the key. For the unique key that you need, you're just going to go to your custom field. You're going to go to this custom field, and this actually right here is going to be that unique key. So you're going to place that right here. And I would just use contact.checkout link and just create it that way because it's just easy. Now the ID is a little bit of a weird one to find. And so there may be a better way to do this, but this is my understanding, the easiest way to find this. And if anyone knows a better way, please let me know in the comments because I would love to make this easier for everyone. But you need to make a form essentially. This is just a literal dummy form. I'm not using it for anything. I placed my custom field here. I'm going to preview it. And then I'm actually going to inspect this page. I know this is a very backwards way of doing this, but this is how I found to do it. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to find, this should be the one. Yep, my checkout link, input type text, placeholder, blah, blah, blah. Okay, perfect. It says name. So here is my ID, which is actually the same as the name, funny enough. So you see this right here, that is the ID of this custom field. So all you need to do is place this into a random form, open it, inspect it, and grab this ID. If anyone knows a better way to find this, please let me know. Now, so you've got your unique field, your key, you've got your field value that you're pulling, and you've got your ID. Perfect. Now you're going to save, and that is all for this. Now we're going to go back to our workflow and see if we missed anything here. So we got our webhook, we're going to wait a minute, everything's going to send, going to make the checkout link, and then it's going to come back, boom, boom, boom. Let's create our API key, and then let's lastly decide how we want to send this checkout link to the customer. So when you're in your Whop dashboard, you're going to go into your Whop, so you need to be inside whatever Whop that you've created. So I just created a Wi-Fi design one for an example, and you're going to go to your dashboard. Then you are going to go down to developer. And here's where you can create webhooks as well. This is where you can get all of this stuff, but this is where you're going to create your API here. So you're going to go and create API key, select everything. You might as well, because you can use this for GHL or for whatever you want to use it for. And there's obviously lots of things you can use this for. Maybe name this either GHL or make connection, because again, you can just reuse this for these two types of scenarios. Go ahead and create that. It's going to spit out an API key, and then you're going to come back to your make scenario. And in those two places, that is where you're going to place your API key. And just to reiterate, when you select this, it's authorization for both of these because it needs to know what organization within Whop is it authorizing you to make a checkout link. You will not be able to make a checkout link unless you have this. So it needs to be authorization. It needs to say bearer and then space. Your API is going to go right here. You're just going to paste it, and you're going to do that for both scenarios, or sorry, both modules, and then you are done, and that is all you need to do. Then what I would probably do is, if you want to just run a test to make sure everything goes through accurately, just run a test through here, make sure that the webhook goes through, whatever, make sure everything creates a checkout link, whatever. I created like 100 checkout links just to make sure it worked. And then after that, now that we know it works, is creating a checkout link. Now we need to decide, where do we want to send this checkout link to the client? If we go back here, now what's going to happen is it's going to create that checkout link, and it's going to place it into this custom field. Now you are free to do whatever you want with it at this point. Are you on the phone with your customer? You're making this checkout link, you're sending it to Whop, it's going through, you're waiting 60 seconds, it's coming back. And are you like physically sending this to a customer? Are you in person? Are you sending it? How are you doing it? That's going to be completely up to you. However, now you have the checkout link. What do you want to do with it? My suggestion, text, email, probably the best way to do this. So what I set up here is that I set up a text, and then I also set up an email. So here I say, hey, here's your payment link. Reference the contact checkout link, which is in your custom field. We just created it. It's under contacts, it's under custom fields, and then it's under checkout link here. Now, I'm also going to send an email, because for some reason people think email is more secure than a text. So I'm also going to send a text or an email. And this way the customer has it in both places. That way, if this goes to spam, they also got a text. They can pay directly through their phone, however they want. So now you've sent out the checkout link and you're good to go. That is exactly how you set up the API to create a checkout link and then send it to Whop to create it, bring it back to GoHighLevel, and send it out completely automated. Your entire sales team can be inside your CRM. They never have to leave. They can create everything right here. And then all you really need to do from there, if you want to track your payments within Whop, outside of that, you can also set up the webhook for the payments to come back to GoHighLevel. And that is how you automatically set up checkout links within GoHighLevel through Whop.